The Dutch Grand Prix harkens the return of Grand Prix racing back from the summer break, and the home Grand Prix for Jelle's marble runs. Hey everybody, I'm Greg Woods. This is the Marbula One version of Zandvoort. Twisty, turny, located in the dunes, which is pretty on brand for the Sand Marble Rally, which just ended the most recent Marble League. No spoilers there, but check it out if you have not seen Marble League 25. In the predictor video standings, Esteban Ocon leads the Drivers' Championship, tied atop with McLaren's Oscar Piastri. The Dutchman himself, Max Verstappen, sitting in third, jumped up a spot, as did Charles Leclerc up into fourth. Leclerc gained 4 for Ferrari after winning the last round of the Marble Predictor videos, sitting ahead of the McLaren teammate Norris. Alexander Albon gets us started with our first look as Carlos Sainz is deployed and down into Tarzan corner. That marble goes. Albon through the banking. That is something that this track has plenty of. Not just undulation, but they want to keep the speed up. 28:29 is the opening time for Albon. Sainz lost quite a bit of time in relation to the former Williams, but gains it all back in the final sector. Wow, that must have been a terrible third sector for Albon, because nearly 2 seconds quicker Sainz. We'll have to see how that goes. Only 2 marbles in. It's really tough to read. Liam Lawson in the RB. Purple on the board, which, if it's been a while, you need a refresher. Purple means you are going fastest through that sector of any marble today. Yellow means you're losing time. Green means you are going quicker than the leader, as Isaac Adjar gets purple in the middle sector. 0.05 faster, but lost half a second in the first and another 0.3 in the third. Adjar goes to third out of 4. Lance Stroll for an Aston Martin team that has been in the news lately. What is being sold versus kept, and where does the ownership go? Are they looking at upgrades for the rest of the season, and have the upgrades that were put on the car, should they have even happened? Certainly Fernando Alonso, who is purple through the first 2 sectors, believes that maybe they should not have. Alonso lost a bunch in the third, only good enough for second. Liam Lawson still holds the top spot so far, as we're in Q1. If you need a refresher on the qualifying format, after this one, the bottom 5 in the order are eliminated, and they will fill those bottom 5 grid slots. The top 15 will move on to Q2. Times wiped away, everybody runs again, and after that one, the bottom 5 are eliminated. And that leaves us only with Q3. The shootout for pole position, the top 10 marbles will be competing. You'll see on the scoring pylon the colors once we fill out the order more, when you are in the relegation zone versus when you are safe. It's Lawson, Alonso, Sainz, and Stroll. Pierre Gasly is out now. Over the line, 7. Franco Colapinto, last in the Marble Predictor video standings. Hasn't been around all that long, so a little bit of forgiveness for the Alpine. Lost nearly a second in each of the first 2 sectors, however, and that will not help get Colapinto off the bottom of the order. Esteban Ocon in the Haas, our championship leader, 90 points through this season of Marble Predictor videos. Looking to add to it here. Almost a dead heat in sector number 1. 0.3 off in the middle, around the banking, and Arie Luyendyk curve to go into 8th. Disappointing compared to what we saw through those early turns. Lots of corners at this track, and lots of great corner names, many of which are in Dutch, and I will leave that to Jelle to pronounce. But what I can tell you is this circuit has looked very different over the years. Take a look at the past iterations, going all the way back to 1948. A very wide, lumpy circuit with great speed all throughout. Still the iconic first sector, It wasn't until 1990 when they started to whittle away, and for a good 9 years ran on that pared-down version, and they added what is now the middle sector starting in 1999. Big upgrades before they welcomed the Grand Prix circuit back. And we see it in its current format with Max Verstappen only good enough for 6th here. That should be safe. In fact, mathematically, I believe it will be. Let's wait here. George Russell, 3rd place. Kimi Antonelli is out there, over a second faster in the first sector. That was notable in the first few runners, only because the times were vastly different. But now with 15 marbles going in the 16th, around there, Antonelli goes P1. Lost 8/10 over the rest of that lap, but made all of that time in sector number 1. Franco Colapinto has been eliminated. Lewis Hamilton is out there now. Made up the time that he lost from the first sector and goes 0.09 slower than Antonelli. Hamilton up into P2. Charles Leclerc in the other Ferrari, trending almost half a second down. 4th. Hulkenberg and Albon join Colapinto in being relegated. Oscar Piastri in the McLaren, the first of the McLarens, 0.8 down. Just remarkable what Antonelli was able to do in that first sector. Piastri just looking for safety and gets it. Knocks out our championship leader, Esteban Ocon. Here comes Lando Norris with Pierre Gasly on the bubble. Norris hard into that curb. Also picks off the wall and goes to the inside. Heading into that final turn complex. Not the preferred line, and as a result, Norris is out. One of the McLarens is through. One is not, along with our championship leader, Esteban Ocon. And we reset the times. Pierre Gasly gets us started, a marble that is 14th in the standings, just 18 points over the course of this season. You compare that to the leader's 90. Gasly's opening times in front of Gabriel Bortoleto. 27:07. An improvement from what we saw over the opening time in Q1, over 28 seconds. The track is getting faster. Bortoleto, purple in the first sector, almost a dead heat in the middle. Over the line, and P1, quarter of a second up, 26:82, the new mark to beat. Isaac Adjar. Tied in the middle. 0.04 off in the first, and only 0.02 off by the end. Adjar goes into first, just barely. Lance Stroll entering the Arie Luyendyk corner. Arie Luyendyk, of course, from the Netherlands, the Flying Dutchman, two-time Indy 500 winner, ran a lot of races in Champ Car and IndyCar. Actually set the Indy 500 speed record for many years until it was broken by Tony Kanaan back in 2013. Max Verstappen goes up into second. Carlos Sainz chasing that time of Lance Stroll. Sainz going to have a lot to make up here and will not do it. Last of the 6. Oscar Piastri carrying a good head of steam. 0.3 off. That's not near what we've seen marbles lose in the first sector, at least through Q1 and the opening part of Q2. 0.02 off. Piastri, 0.7 down, only good enough for 5th. And we are just reaching the halfway point of Q2. It's going to be a precarious and nerve-wracking situation for a driver who knows that his main championship rival in these Marble Predictor videos, Esteban Ocon, is out in Q1. The door is open, but Ollie Behrman goes up ahead of Piastri as well. Verstappen still holding in second place. Alonso, look at that middle time, 4/10 gain. Over the line second, it's an Aston 1-2, as George Russell also wanted to get into the fray. Going quickly here, trying to keep it off the walls. A much better entry than what we saw several of those marbles do. And fourth, Liam Lawson in the RB. Fastest of everyone through sector number 1. 10 marbles have gone. Lost a 10th, so almost dead even. It all comes undone in the third sector. Liam Lawson only good enough for 6th, but now Piastri down into 9th. Sainz formally eliminated. Charles Leclerc. Fifth. Now it puts Piastri on the bubble. Gasly is out. Yuki Tsunoda, 4/10 off. A marble that needs to start finishing well in these videos. Tsunoda down in 12th in the standings. And only good enough for 11th. Piastri survives. Tsunoda straight into elimination. But here is Hamilton. Purple through the first, green through the second. Building on the time. Hamilton goes first of all, and Piastri is out. Gabriel Bortoleto now on the bubble. Kimi Antonelli, who was very quick in Q1. A touch of the inside wall before the apex. Will have lost a few tenths there. And Antonelli goes into 5th. That knocks out Bortoleto, so it's Gabriel, Piastri, Tsunoda, Gasly, and Sainz out in Q2. Clear the times again, and off we go. Isaac Adjar. Through turns that have gotten a few different names over time. One of them is literally called the Nameless Corner. Through the banking, over the line to set the opening salvo, and it's only a 28-17. Not ideal. Mentioned one of the other great names you see in the upper part of the corner there. It's banked very hard, turn 4, named after Hugenholtz. That name rings a bell for you. That is John Hugenholtz. Yes, he was Dutch, but a designer of some wonderful racetracks all around the world. Famous for Suzuka, Zolder, the stadium section in Hockenheim. Ollie Behrman goes up into first. It's the Haas ahead of Lawson and Adjar. Charles Leclerc gaining lots of time with every sector here. 3 purples across the board, 26-30. We know the track is getting faster, and we know these marbles are taking to it very well, too. Russell, only 0.04 off. 3/10 in the middle. Over the line, second. It's a big gap to second place, though. 0.8 between Leclerc and Russell. Kimi Antonelli just ekes out a purple in the middle as Max Verstappen on course. This crowd going crazy. The Orange Army. This is the session that counts. You're just trying to be safe through the first 2. What can Max do here as Antonelli, 2 purples, only puts him up into second place? Verstappen, almost a 1/4 second ahead in the first. Another 0.5 second in the middle. Max, through the final turn, goes first. 25.84. Nearly 0.5 second up on Charles Leclerc, and Zandvoort erupts. Just 3 marbles can dethrone the 4-time world champion. Alonso can't do it. 4th. Teammate Lance Stroll. A very respectable first sector. Got a bit out of sorts off of that curb, bounded from wall to wall, and lost it all in the middle. And cannot recover. Lance Stroll, 8th of 9. It comes down to Lewis Hamilton in the Ferrari. 0.4 off through the first sector. Much better off of that curb than what we just saw, but still lost 0.75 of a second. The pole is tilting in the direction of Max Verstappen, and that's who will start on pole tomorrow. Max Verstappen, half a second, was the class of the field today. Down there at the bottom, the championship leader, Esteban Ocon, eliminated in Q1. The door is open. Piastri was also out early on in Q2. Max sees the opportunity, and as we know he so often does, he will be looking to pounce tomorrow in front of a home crowd.